Y'all already look like there ain't no internet. Oh my God, she's going to be pixelated the entire show.
That's horrible.
That's what you get. She's down in Ocean City, everybody. Welcome to the Hey Frase Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Sarah Fraser, along with Andrea Lopez Comedy. She's down in Ocean City, you guys, probably not wearing a mask, not wearing gloves, out at every bar, getting a fucking grapefruit crush. And I'm so jealous. I want an update of what you're doing, but you are literally pixelated already.
Am I really? Okay, because you look perfect. You look as clear as day. Okay.
I make everybody up here turn their internet off. Like when we go live, I'm like, enough. Okay. I'm like, Mom, boom, hit that, hit it on airplane mode, sis. Okay. We do not need your internet on. That's the only reason. And Schman, he's down there watching all those soccer webinars. I'm like, Schmano, enough. Turn off that web.
Turn off that web. I might even try to switch.
Oh, you going to switch? AJ is probably switching right now. We're going to try to get AJ here live and clear. Huge show for you guys. Did you listen to the podcast on Friday? A lot of people have reactions to Cyber Sex Rex. So on Friday, I dropped an episode and people are giving me heat, which you guys can always give me heat. It's fine. I enjoy hearing people's feedback. But I had put out, because ashleymadison.com, the website, had said that having cyber affairs, people having cyber affairs in their home is up 300% during quarantine. How are y'all creeping with your significant other right there on the sofa? Or I don't know, maybe somebody's downstairs, you're upstairs. I don't know what you're doing. But anyway, 300% increase. So I put out on my Twitter, I wanted to talk to somebody having a cyber affair. So we dubbed him Cyber Sex Rex. AJ did killer on the audio because he wanted a voice changer, which we can give you voice change if you come on this show and you don't want someone to recognize your voice. So he dished on basically having a cyber affair. You thought he was a complete creep, right, AJ?
Was I the only one? Okay, first off,
people thought he was so like angered. So you did?
Oh, but you loved him, Sarah. You're like, oh my God, he's incredible. Love what you're doing. You're so sneaky. I'm like, okay, why is she supporting this?
Well, look, I don't support cheaters, but I thought he made good points in the episode. If you didn't hear the episode, it's like Hey Frase 492. It's the one that came out on Friday. It's called Cyber Sex Rex. Treat yourself. It's not safe for work. It's not safe for kids. But what I commended him about is, didn't he give the playbook of how he's having an affair? Like he gave every single detail, everything he does not to get caught, which it's like a laundry list of shit. Like the guy doesn't he have two phones? He cleans out one phone, like he completely erases it every single night. I'm like, dude, that is so much work.
Exhausting. I was tired listening to the episode. I'm like, okay, you have to empty out. He's like, I don't like extra stuff on my phone anyways. I'm like, I have texts from 2014. I'm not deleting it.
Me too. I go back, old pictures, everything. He's cleaning out that phone every single week. And what was the deal? Like he gets videos, but he won't send her videos. There were like so many elements to this story. He is having a cyber affair. Well, what started out as a cyber affair in his home with his wife, with his children there. Only then he breaks quarantine rules to go meet her in some parking lot in Maryland and have a hot and heavy affair. Like in person during quarantine, you could get the Rona.
That was my favorite part. He goes, well, actually, I forgot to tell you. 2 weeks ago, I did see her. I was like,
what? Minor detail, bud. Minor detail.
You forgot to mention that. Yes. No, that was so good. Now I got a good laugh out of that one.
So if you want to just like dive into that, but no, I got a lot of messages and a lot of DMs on Twitter. Like, this guy is such a creep. Like, why is he married? And I did press him on that. I did say, it doesn't seem like you really want to be married because you've given up all forms of communication with your wife. Essentially, he says his wife doesn't give him attention anymore, isn't freaky, like won't do anything freaky. And because they've lived together and had kids for so long, they don't even have these sex conversations.
But that's what got me angry. He's like, I feel awkward in front of my wife. I'm like, what? You have had children with her. You shouldn't feel awkward with her. You should feel most comfortable with her.
I agree. I mean, that's the part that didn't make sense to me, because if you're putting that much effort into cheating, I mean, this dude has 2 phones, clears one out, only accepts videos, doesn't send videos, going to meet up with her, only talks to her between the hours of like 9 and 1. I mean, so many things, right? If you're putting all that effort in, don't you think if you put that attention and focus on your wife and like, I don't know, reconnecting, that things would be just as hot and heavy?
I do, because he's doing a lot of energy for this relationship to work.
His wife. doing the most. It was like way too much.
Tragic to me. As I was editing it, I was like, ugh.
People are on Twitter like, who is this guy? I'm like, guys, you should have, he dished it all. So anyway, you can listen to that on Friday's episode. We got a ton of pop culture things to talk about. I want to know because of the two of us, I would say you have a more religious, spiritual base than I do. I mean, I'm really working on mine, but I am like half Buddhist, half Catholic, half Jew. I mean, I've got like a million different religions going on in my head. So I want to know, like, Justin Bieber came out with this big Instagram message over the weekend saying that he wished that he had saved himself for marriage and had never had sex with anyone before. And I thought to myself, really? Like, to me, I am now married and I think, God, I wish I'd had sex with so many more people. Like, I would love to be in the mindset. And I love Schman so much. As you guys know, the Schmandalorian has been amazing in quarantine, okay? But still, don't you like want to have sex with other people?
I think Jay Biebs is only saying this because he has had sex with so many other people and he's like, oh, you know what I could do without. It's like, no, you can't. No, you're only saying that because you went to strip clubs with your dad when you were 16.
Oh, did he? Did he really? Actually, I feel like I did story. You're right. Okay, well, we'll get all into that. Also, now there's a company, if you are going on a Zoom date, they've got physical body enlargements for you. I think this is hysterical. I want to know like what you think about this. We've got Dr. Loomis coming on from Barnard Medical Group. He is going to be talking about and answering all your questions on coronavirus. Did y'all see the guy in Florida who was a complete non-believer of corona? Now he's got the Rona. I want to know, now they're saying that mouthwash could be the secret, alcoholic mouthwash, like rinsing twice a day could be killing the coronavirus in your mouth and then saving the rest of us. I want to ask him about mouthwash. I want to ask him how close we are to a vaccine. Has he ever met Dr. Fauci? As you know, I'm still in love with the Fauci. And also they're a plant-based practice. So when you come in and you become a patient of theirs, they actually help you eat better, which most doctors never treat. So I'm curious about that too. He'll be on later.
That is really good. It does start with the diet. I agree.
And then we're both, are you obsessed with Machine Gun Kelly? I'm often obsessed with Machine Gun Kelly now because of Bird Box movie. I don't know. I was really attracted to him in that.
Because of Bird Box, yes. But he reminds me of, the guy on SNL, the really skinny one. He's just skinny with tattoos. That's all I'm getting. Yes.
Pete Davidson. All right. Well, we'll talk about that because apparently now he's seeing this big Hollywood actress, and I love these two together. And again, maybe I'm just encouraging people to cheat because she's actually married. So I don't know what's
with
wrong
children.
All right, we'll talk about that. I want to thank our sponsors. Also, I want to find out you're in Ocean City. Now I see that there's like, what is this Ocean City bar that's doing like tube bumpers or something? I want to talk about that.
So hilarious. Yes. And we saw this on the news and we passed by it and we're like, they're actually doing this. It's great.
I want to talk about that. And then also I'm watching Dead to Me. If you guys are not watching Dead to Me and The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, I don't know what you're watching. The best shows we're going to talk about over the weekend. Shout out to Sahir. Oh my God, Sahir, we freaking love you. You are like fan number one. You are like a stan. You know, you stan when all the stans right there. Alexandra, love you. Sandy's on this morning. Thank you. Oh my God, is it Matei? Lisa is on. Thank you guys so much. Start a watch party right now. Share the show. That's just my dog freaking out in the background. Don't mind that. It's just a zoo here. Anyway, share the show right now. We are live on YouTube, on Periscope, on Facebook. Share on your own page or start a watch party. Tell a friend about the podcast. Real quick, I want to thank Talkspace. I absolutely love us some Talkspace. Guys, the best way to support this show is to support our sponsors. Being home so much, especially during a crisis like this, can be a breeding ground for anxiety. Don't I know it? My mind is, it's just a mental case, guys. It really is. Without the stability of our normal daily routine, the mind can fill with the worst case scenarios. Check, what ifs and worries. You may feel lonely, but you are not alone. And as you guys know, we are all adjusting to the new normal. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace online talk therapy is more committed than ever to expanding access to support for anyone who is struggling. With Talkspace, you get the support of a licensed therapist from the safety of your home, and you can reach out from your device whenever something is on your mind. You can send your therapist texts, audio, picture, or video messages from your phone or computer 24/7, as much as you need. Everything happens within Talkspace's secure platform, all on your very own schedule. Talkspace matches you with a licensed therapist based on your needs and preferences. They have thousands of licensed therapists trained in over 40 specialties, including anxiety, depression, and relationship issues. Hello, we've got them all. The bottom line, you deserve support and don't have to struggle on your own. Your Talkspace therapist can be your dedicated support system, there to help you feel healthier and more empowered, even in these very uncertain circumstances. As a listener of this podcast, you get $100 off your first month on Talkspace. To match with your perfect therapist, go to Talkspace.com or download the app. Make sure to use code FRASE, that's FRASE, to get $100 off your first month and show your support for this show. That is FRASE and Talkspace.com. Also, hello, very excited. We are now working with Phil Donahue and Marlo Thomas. Phil Donahue was my inspiration for wanting to become a talk show host. For let me just position this on my shoulder. I'll just hunch it up here. Phil Donahue and Marlo Thomas just wrote a book. I am honored, and we're trying to get them on the show this week, that they chose the Hey Frase podcast to work with, because they just wrote a book, What Makes a Marriage Last? And it's all these big Hollywood couples sharing their stories. I've been reading it. So everybody from Jamie Lee Curtis, Viola Davis, Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox has been married an eternity, you guys, in Hollywood. I literally think he and Tracy Pollan have been married, oh my God, I don't know, 40 years. Chip and Joanna Gaines are in here. Neil Patrick Harris. Yes, Elton John. Okay, love Elton. LL Cool J and Simone Smith, his longtime wife. Did you guys even realize that LL Cool J is married? When I saw him in concert, he would bring out like a dozen roses, get down on all his knees, and then like serenade the women and give them roses. Not anymore, guys. He's been married. So this book is available on Amazon, basically Target, everywhere where books are sold. It's What Makes a Marriage Last. Marlo Thomas, Hollywood royalty, Phil Donahue. I was watching old clips of his on YouTube. If you guys want to see a talk show that like literally probably could never be made today, it's epic. I'm going to leave this right here. I love this book. It's so good. I was looking at his clips. So he literally used to do the show that I found, Marilyn Manson was on, and they were talking about like headbanging and oh my God, I don't know, what was it that people used to do, like ska dancing or whatever? And Phil Donahue was like, what is this new rage of dance that could kill teenagers? It was epic. Then he also had this story. Do you guys think this would ever work on a talk show today? He has a clip on YouTube that says mulatto woman passes as white. And then it talks all about how she would pass as white. And then, you know, when she came out and she was actually mixed race, like the Black community wouldn't accept her. I'm just like, I don't even know if you could do these shows today. Anyway, needless to say, they don't talk about any of that in the book. It's What Makes a Marriage Last. It's all Hollywood stories. You guys will love it. I love them so much. If Phil Donahue comes on the show, I won't be able to control myself. He was my inspiration for becoming a talk show host. I love him.
I pray he comes on because I want to see that.
Girl, what are all your thoughts about Hannah Brown from The Bachelor using the N-word on live stream? And now look, I don't even follow Hannah Brown, but I'm wondering if I should, because she is a hot mess express. Who would do this?
She is a disaster master. Okay, first of all, do you know how she was like doing insensitive TikToks? Like everyone was in isolation and she was on some island just like doing TikToks and not social distancing. She was with all the other castmates. Like it was like a group of Bachelor people and they were all hanging out and people were wondering, what are you guys doing? Okay, so now she's insensitive times 10, says the N-word on a live stream. And now she's apologizing for it and saying like, I'm really sorry. I just like didn't know. Has she lived under a rock for the past generation? I don't understand. Like, hello.
I know. Well, and people, I mean, are calling her ass out, rightfully so. I don't really follow Hannah Brown. I bet a lot of people on here are big fans, aside from Clay, who's going Hannah who. Okay, well, me too, but everyone's obsessed with The Bachelor except for AJ and me. AJ and I are literally, or she was The Bachelorette. Thank you, Allison.
Yeah.
AJ and I are the only two people that do not watch The Bachelor or Bachelorette. But anyway, Hannah is getting so much flack, as she should. She started singing a DaBaby song on her IG live and then drops the N-word for the song. Who does that?
I don't understand these people that don't even have a filter when they're on live. Like, does she not know that thousands of people follow her, hundreds of thousands? It's insensitive and it's just a lack of like awareness.
I just feel like then she can't possibly care. You know what I'm saying?
She's
like,
so goofy.
I don't think she cares. Like, I don't think she gets that it's offensive. I don't think she understands it.
Which is probably the worst part, right? Because you get, at least when somebody says they're sorry and they know what they did is wrong. But her, yeah, it's like, I think it went over her head. Sad to say.
I like Melinda's comments. Dude, she's a beauty pageant contestant. She knows. I'm sure she does know. Anyway, she put on her story like how sorry she is and she owns it and all that. Hey, can I ask you this too? Is it just you or is it just me? Or do you find like TikTok is kind of low-key racist? Like people do a lot of sort of I think subtle racist things on there. Or is it just me? Maybe I'm like way too sensitive about it.
No, I definitely do think there's like some really sketchy things going on because they'll push more videos to the top if they're like skinny, like they're insensitive in a lot of ways, not only just the racist card. Like there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on.
Yeah, it's so weird to me because I feel like people are maybe more, I think because people's stuff gets viewed so much, like nobody knows the algorithm, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like once you scroll past a video, yeah, you can scroll back, but then it's gone, really, unless you like follow that person. So I don't know. I feel like it's an interesting platform that people are more, okay, wait, too classy for you says it's mega racist. I think it is too. Like oh my God, I think it is too. I'm like blown away at some of this stuff. And then people like race bait you big time on TikTok. They're like, here's what I hate about white people. And then they play a little song or do a dance and then they're like, nothing. And you're like, oh, fuck. Like
what?
You know what I mean? They fool you into thinking that they're racist. And then everybody does that now on there for likes and for follows and stuff. And I'm just like, why am I watching this crap? Why am I watching all these 14-year-olds? And recently on TikTok, a bunch of 14-year-olds have started following me. Oh God. And they just are the most obnoxious thing. They're like, can you make me viral? I'm like, bitch, I'm trying to make myself viral. Why am I getting, get off of my page? And they're 14. You go to their page, literally. My God, they have like a unibrow. They haven't even learned how to pluck. And they're there. Can you make me viral? No, I only have 7,000 followers, bitch.
Let's not shit on the 14-year-old, Sarah. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Isn't that terrible? And now I find myself trying to do content for a 14-year-old. And I think this should be illegal. Why am I thinking about what these kids are going to like? That's wrong.
I have no idea. The thing you need to do is just give less of an F. Also, we always say we hate TikTok, but it actually sneaks into our conversation every single show.
Oh, it's the best platform ever. It's the best platform. I love it. And you know why I love it is because they actually cut your ass off at 60 seconds. I'm so tired of going on now, Facebook, and it's everyone's medical mysteries and everyone like long ass thing. After 3 sentences, I'm done. I don't read any of your stuff. Like then you'll click on a video on Facebook. It'll be 5 or 6 minutes. Who's going to watch 5 or 6 minutes? Why do you guys think I cut the show off at 35 minutes? Because we don't want to hear ourselves talk after that. Like,
we're over it at that point. Yeah, exactly.
Clay says you just lost your 14-year-old, huge 14-year-old demographic. I know. So many of them. Overnight, I got super excited. I got 159 follows on TikTok, which does not happen on any other platform, by the way. I usually lose 159 people overnight on Instagram, not on TikTok. But then I scroll through and all these kids have a unibrow. They've never seen tweezers. They have little faux mustaches going because they're just hitting puberty. And they're like, can you tell me about your favorite celebrity that you've interviewed?
But that's the videos you do. So aren't you looking for those questions?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I am. And then they follow that up. Okay, fine. You know what? I'll give it that 14-year-old was good. And then they follow up with, can you go to my page and like all my videos? No, I can't. I'm busy trying to create shit that you'll like. Get off my page. Anyway, sorry, side rant. Anyway, Hannah Brown. Does anyone know her? Does anyone care about her?
Hannah Brown. I'm over her. I was never into it. Like I said, we're not into the Bachelorette or Bachelor anyway. So I'm over it.
I'm over it too. So Frasiacs and Lopeziacs. I almost said lesbian acts for you. Like, I don't know why.
Thank you, Sarah. Awesome. Love to hear it.
Lesbian acts and Frasiacs. The lesbian acts are AJ's fan. But I'm going to tell you right now, you guys, I'll let you in on a secret. Lesbian women love AJ. And I can understand why. You're hot as hell.
No, but I get scared that I give off very masculine energy. And I go, oh, maybe that's why Schmiggy likes me. Because he's like the feminine energy to my masculine energy. Is that what's happening here?
I'm gonna be honest. I've been watching Michael Jordan's Last Dance, and you have hands like MJ. I mean, they are massive hands.
Here we go. Okay, two overall underlying themes of the Hey Frase podcast. TikTok sucks, and my hands and feet are large.
How big are your feet? You've got MJ hands. Have you ever tried to, hand a basketball?
Palm a basketball.
Palm a basketball.
I think I'm just shy of like a half an inch, but I can do it for like 5 seconds, then it drops.
You are amazing.
Too bad I never got into basketball. I was always the forward, and then they made me the center, and then I was never fast enough to be the front. So it just didn't work out.
Dude, you could have been the Scottie Pippen of like, seriously, of like the Mystics. Like you could have been the Scottie Pippen of the Mystics.
Wait.
Like you are how tall? Like, and when you go out in heels, you are so striking. And it's like, honest to God, it's like this beautiful model in the midget, podcaster. It's like I come up, I'm all 5'3", even in heels. And she's stunning and gorgeous and long and tall. And it's honestly the midge and the model is really what we should rename this podcast.
It's funny that you forget all the times that men have hit on you and no one has talked to me. They're all out for you, Sarah. I'm not even kidding. You know exactly.
But who do I attract? I mean, I just attract, Lord, people that I don't even know. Who? No, I attract older men because I give off daddy issue vibes. That's the thing. And everywhere we go, there's an old rich white guy. He's on me like white on rice. It's just like instantaneous. And I'm a flirt. So what do? I flirt with them.
You are a flirt and they love it. I want to talk about the picture that you posted of you and Schman. Now, did you guys get into a fight and he asked you to post something, or was that really how you feel? The yin to the yang. That was a really cute post.
Okay, you know what? Here's the thing. No, I told you this and I don't have the right words to articulate, but I'm going through something behind the scenes. And I'm going to be really honest. Okay, really honest. So you guys know I was on Dr. Oz last week for this mansion murder podcast that I did 4 years ago, right? About the Savopoulos family. And all of a sudden in doing that, I should have been so excited to be on Oz's platform, have him on our show, all this stuff, right? And I felt like total crap after I did that interview. I really did. Because at this point, I feel like I'm just exploiting, I feel like I am continuing to exploit like the Savopoulos family. Like I hated doing that. Not when I was started doing that investigative podcast, because I truly thought our intention was to find out if somebody else had been involved, and did the DC Police Department drop the ball? But that's not true. They didn't. Darren Wendt is the only person involved. So I don't know why it hit me after 4 years, because I was telling you this earlier today and you were like, after 4 years, like it's just hitting you now that this could be a problem. But I think that this time during quarantine, you and I have been exploring so much about ourselves, and I think other people are doing that. And I was like, wow, I never want to produce content again on one of my platforms that deliberately, I think, would hurt somebody. And what I'm saying by that is the Savopoulos family never came to us and said, hey, could you investigate this? Because there's a lot of families out there that they never got police help investigating their murder. They never, like there wasn't DNA testing for whatever reason, right? They did not get the help. That family never wanted help. They didn't want any press. And yet we kind of continued to explore that story. And I think, we started out with good intentions, but then once it was clear only one person did it, they did not want police. They did not want the media involvement. They never spoke to us. Their friends didn't speak to us. Their neighbors didn't speak to us. It's like, I hated doing that. And I don't know. I mean, it's a great lesson because I think for me, I still need to reflect on it. And we want to raise the bar of our content and show, like, we want to replace Call Her Daddy podcast and just basically talk more about blowjobs. But anyway, so like basically that's what we want to do, So anyhow, I just don't ever want people to have an experience like that again on something I'm a part of. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. And so Dan has kind of helped you. He's good at talking.
Okay, so back to Dan.
Through it.
Okay, sorry. You asked me about Dan in this phone. So Dan, what I love about my husband is Dan will call me on my crap like all the time. So this is the picture that I posted over the weekend. So what
I love the picture.
I will talk to Dan about a lot of my feelings. And Dan, a lot of people have somebody in their life that will like ride or die for them, like whatever they're going through. Like if they steal, if they lie, like they've got a co-conspirator. My husband's the opposite. He's like, do you think it's time for you to apologize? I'm like, I didn't really think about that, but that's an interesting take. I think what I love so much about him, and I hope for other people that they find in a partner, is he just sort of, I don't know, he doesn't always like defend me, but he does, if that makes sense. He always has my best interest, but I think he's willing to hold a mirror up to me and go, hey, is this who you want to be? Is this like the standard that you want? And what I love so much about Dan is Dan, I think, is a better person than I am, in the sense that he holds integrity like in everything he does. And he's just not willing to compromise his integrity. Whereas I'm impulsive and I will do things and say things about people that gets me in trouble, which is also what makes our show successful. But it sucks at times because I hate having that feeling of like bringing any unjust hurt on someone, you know?
Okay, I got you. I see where the post comes from now. Yes, it was like a moment of clarity. You're like, well, I really appreciate Dan for holding me accountable.
Yeah, exactly. And I think he is like the opposite. Like, I'm glad I didn't marry, as you know, my whole dating history. I broke up with Dan. I wanted to date some other like hot people that were spontaneous. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Okay. So, I might have had some indiscretions along the way. And I'm really glad I didn't end up with those people, because I can't imagine, I'm like such a lit match. I can't imagine being with another lit match, because I feel like I would completely just be Dennis Rodman, which isn't terrible, but in the end, it's not always great. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I completely understand. I love it. It is the yin to your yang.
Anyway, look, I'm really sorry that this episode is now turned into my own self-talk space. Like, basically, hi, it's Sarah for Talkspace. And now I've just used up our 35 minutes to talk about my mental health issues. Anyway, so that was the reason for my post is, I'm just so grateful that I have him, because I feel like he pushes me to be a better person. Like
well, yeah.
And he's like just a way better person, I feel like, than like I could be. Because
no, Sarah, you keep working on yourself. You keep working on yourself.
You know how I am. I'm too impulsive. Like, I will, it's just like today, right? I'm like, now I'm trying to be deliberate in the content we put out. But TMZ put up Mark Zuckerberg, a picture of him like in college, and then a picture today. And they're like, good genes or good docs. And he has yellow teeth in both. And I said, do y'all know how I can send him a teeth whitening kit? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm such a bitch. Like, is this the guy? But that's the stuff, that's the immediate thing that comes to mind. Y'all, he's a billionaire. Why has he got yellow chompers?
I know so many people that are well off that they just completely ignore the teeth area. Why is that?
Can someone hop on here who's a billionaire and tell me why y'all have yellow teeth? Anyway, but I think myself. Yes, go on.
Oh no, they're just too busy, making money that they can't even buy a whitening kit. It's called Crest White Strips. You can get it at Rite Aid or any drugstore.
I know. We're going to have Dr. Loomis on here from Barnard Medical Center, who I absolutely love. They're amazing. Dr. Barnard went viral on What the Health documentary probably about 4 years ago. That was all plant-based. So we're going to have him on in a few minutes. But I want to ask you, lightning round, a series of, some stories, and get your opinion. So you are in Ocean City. Are people practicing wearing masks, wearing gloves, social distancing?
So the boardwalk is packed, and I see half of the people wearing masks. A couple of the bars are open, but it is really crazy how only half of the population that I see are wearing masks. Now, everyone is so far being okay with social distancing. Like, people are still like in large groups walking together, but I think the large groups are staying away from each other. So it is good. I'm noticing some social distancing. Now, the bars have just opened. Fishtails, if you guys know, it's right on the boardwalk, and they've got these inner tubes that are 6 feet distance inner tubes. I'm going to try to bring up a picture right now, but it's so funny. It's really innovative, I think, that they're trying to like open these bars back up. And you would imagine, like, okay, how are they going to do that? This is how they do it. Look at these tubes right here. So they've got these tubes that are also tables. I mean, you've got to scream to your friends, right?
So wait, they give every individual one of these? Like, you can't get in these with your friend?
No, you can't. I mean, it would make sense if you could, but I think it's only just one person fits in that hole in the center.
Wow, that's a great way to social distance. That is super funny. I love it.
Yes. So the owner of Fishtails has implemented this, and she's trying to help other bar owners do the same thing, which is super funny. And now we passed by, and it didn't look this packed. Like, it looked like 2 tubes. And I was like, all right, we got to get some more people over there.
What are you and your family personally like? Are you guys willing to go to a bar yet?
Oh, as soon as I came down here, my parents were like, there's a bar that's open. We need to go and see what it's like. And then we never ended up going. We just ended up sitting in our back. It's so easy just to go in the back porch and just drink there.
Y'all, I don't think I could go to a bar yet.
Really? You don't think so?
No, I mean, I'm still so like, aren't you so nervous? We were talking about the guy in Florida, the Uber driver in Florida, who completely was like on his social media, this is a hoax. We shouldn't have to wear masks. We shouldn't have to wear gloves. He and his wife have coronavirus down in Florida. He is issuing a stark warning. It's the front page of the New York Post today. He's basically saying, take this seriously. My wife was on a ventilator. I know it sucks for businesses. I want to support business, but I don't think I'd go out in a bar yet.
So when do you think? You're going to wait maybe 2-3 more weeks? A month?
Well, I was thinking 2 or 3 more months.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking, people are asking how the tube thing works on a first date. Great idea. I guess you got to lean way over to try and make out. It's a virtual makeout.
Do you want to make out? Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to be making out these days during quarantine?
A lot of people, Sarah. Some of us are not living with our significant others, okay?
Look, mine is not glamorous because my room sits like next to my mom's headboard is on one side of the wall. Ours is on the other.
No.
Yeah,
okay.
No,
I thought your mom lived on another floor.
No, we all live. I'm doing a vlog of life in Maine for our Patreon page. Girlfriend, wait until you see how close we sleep at night.
You need to move the direction of the bed the other way so the headboard is not facing her wall.
It's not normal. Okay, would you say Justin Bieber, 26 years old, puts out over the weekend, he wishes that he had not lost his virginity prior to meeting his wife, that he would have remained celibate if he could do it over again. Do you feel the same way?
I used to think that. It was the best thing to do was to wait. But now, as I've been in relationships, I know that it's so important. Like the sexual chemistry is very important. And I don't know. Of course, I feel like Justin Bieber is saying this because he's experienced strippers and hookers. And he's like, you know what? I could have done without those. Well, he's already married now after the fact that he hooked up with like 10,000 people, But he also is like have this newfound spirituality about him. You realize that, right? Like BS. BS.
Well, it's BS. It's BS. Who feels this way? I mean, honestly, why isn't he out there using his platform to find a cure for herpes? I mean, that's what we want. Like, no, who feels this way? I think now I'm so lucky to have Schman, as I tell you guys, hopefully not too obnoxiously. But I'm like, oh my God, if I had to do over again, I'd be hooking up with so many more people.
Well, I appreciate maybe in a small way, he's actually preventing coronavirus because he's like, wait until marriage. And all these people are like going to wait to hook up with people during coronavirus. They're like, you know what? I can wait too, J Beebs.
I think it's a great message. I'm always fascinated when people can do it because Russell Wilson and Sierra, they, I think, initially had sex when they first met, and then they were celibate for like a year until they got married. And I'm so fascinated how people can do that because when we got married in the Catholic Church and we went to our Catholic classes, they had advised us to live like brother and sister up until our wedding, which I think lasted for like 3 days. And then we really couldn't. So it just didn't work
And then
out.
You're like, you know what? This isn't fun. Now, Sarah, can you read in your angry voice that you used to do Justin Bieber's caption? Because I think it's great.
Dear Haley, as I lay here, you asleep next to me, I think to myself, how did I get so blessed? Your humility, joy, and desire to grow blows me away. I am honored to be your husband. I promise to love you all the days of our lives. Good night, Haley. I hope you read this in the morning and smile. You are my forever. There it is. I don't know. That's my when people review our show. You guys suck.
I love
This show has gone way downhill since Sammy K left.
Yes, it's like, is Sammy high on Snacklins and writing these comments?
Hey, by the way, Sammy K and Snacklins got a monster shout out. Do you listen to Pardon My Take? My husband's obsessed with Pardon My Take podcast.
Okay, yeah.
I don't even know. The guys are great, but I can't remember. Big Cat and God.
Little Cat?
Big Cat and Little Cat. Close enough. Big Cat and Little Cat. Well, they had on Mark Cuban, and they asked Mark who his favorite entrepreneur or favorite business was, the one that he's most excited about for this season. No, he said Snacklins. He dropped Snacklins. Yes, Sammy K got monster shout out. Sammy K. I know. It's so amazing to see Sammy shine. Like, honest to God,
That's fantastic. I'm happy for him.
I remember when he and his business partner at the time would just smoke weed, take liquid THC, and then try to make things out of flour. And I was like, what are y'all cooking in this space? And they were always trying to get me to come over and do some sort of like promotional video.
Like taste test or promotional video.
And I'm like, okay, is anyone wearing a hairnet here? Like, I mean, what is going on? And then, dude, Mark Cuban dropping that on Part of My Take. His Instagram, the Snacklins IG was going nuts yesterday. I was like, good for you.
Going nuts. And that just happened yesterday. Okay. That's insane.
Insane. But that's pretty cool. I mean, that Mark Cuban thinks that you have the most potential of all products on Shark Tank.
It's also insane that it's a healthy pork rind. Like, you would think it would be some crazy contraption that's saving the world. No, it's Snacklins. It's
vegan pork rind. Actually, this is probably a good time to bring in Dr. Loomis, because speaking of vegan and plant-based lifestyle, I'm a huge fan of Dr. Barnard. I've been to their medical center many times. I've actually been there for a physical, so they are unbelievable. We're lucky to have him today because I wanted to ask him some questions about where coronavirus stands. Also, Dr. Barnard's medical group, and Barnard Medical, is taking on new patients. So we're going to tell you how you can make an appointment, become a patient, join them in their practice. Hi, Dr. Loomis.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you with us. Thanks for joining.
This is great. Yeah.
Hey, we have a ton of questions for you. And we also, any of our listeners joining on the live, if you have a specific question for Dr. Loomis, please ask, whether it's in regards to plant-based lifestyle and health or coronavirus. But we're honored. You're actually the first doctor that we've had on in the time of coronavirus to kind of talk to us a little bit about health and then your practice. Can you tell us right now what your medical opinion is on like the reopening of states and, what we know now about coronavirus, which I know this is a big question, but how are you feeling about where the virus is as far as testing and us working towards a vaccine?
Well, obviously the vaccine is going to take a while. I think we're months away at best from that. As far as reopening, I share some of the same concerns you shared earlier about going out to bars and things like that. I just think it's too early to tell, frankly. Now, that being said, I think that, maintaining social distancing, wearing masks, if you go out to a place that's open, sitting outside is very important as opposed to being stuck in a room with people. It does seem that, the safest place to be is in the open air. I personally would have reservations though still until we know more. I just think it's too early to really understand what this is going to look like. And, fortunately or unfortunately, there's some states that are going to serve as kind of a test case and see what happens now that they've reopened and see what happens to the cases.
Dr. Loomis, what's your thought on, because you obviously at the Barnard Medical Center, you guys really focus on wellness and nutrition. Mm-hmm. Why do you think this virus is preying on people who are obese, who are, pre-diabetic or have had asthma? Why do you think it is just attacking people that have some health vulnerabilities like that?
Well, we know that all of those conditions can adversely affect our immune system, which make us more susceptible. COVID virus creates a lot of inflammation in the body. That's when, for some people, the people that get really ill and end up in the ICU have profound inflammation. It's almost like a hyperimmune response to the virus. We also know that many of these conditions, particularly obesity, type 2 diabetes, create chronic inflammation in the body. So that may be part of it, although we don't really understand why some certain people with certain diseases seem to be more susceptible. And by the way, that's why maintaining a healthy lifestyle is so important, because we know there's lots and lots of research suggests that a whole food, low fat, high fiber, plant-based diet combined with a healthy lifestyle, exercise, don't smoke, drink in moderation, get a good night's sleep, significantly improve both can be used to prevent, treat, and even sometimes reverse many of these chronic diseases. So that's one reason that we feel that adapting a plant-based diet is so important, and maintaining a healthy lifestyle is so important for everybody, really.
One last question on coronavirus, and then we're getting some plant-based questions I want to ask you. But in your medical opinion, how much do you think at this point we do know about coronavirus? Because we still have like Dr. Fauci, who we greatly respect on this show, who I think is just a leading voice, and Dr. Birx they keep emphasizing we really don't know a lot about coronavirus still. We can't even really determine, did it come from animals? Did it come from we're not even certain about that. So from what you're hearing, do you still think this is a really big medical mystery, this virus?
Well, I don't think the virus itself is a mystery. They've been able to study the DNA and the RNA, the makeup of the virus. So we know what the virus is. As far as where it came from, one of the problems is the coronavirus, like many viruses, has the ability to mutate. So there's already been reported, I think, 30 different strains of the virus that have been reported, and people have used that to kind of trace. So there was just a study that looked at where did the virus most of the people in the U.S. got the virus from strains that looked like they appeared in New York, for example. The other thing is we're learning every day. There's just been some research come out, or some stuff come out about this multi-inflammatory syndrome in children, which is something that we're just learning about. And I think that because the coronavirus has the ability to infect many different kinds of cells in the human body, each of which can create a particular syndrome. So, you can get direct inflammation of your heart, which can cause heart failure and fatal arrhythmias. You can get direct inflammation of your kidneys, which can cause kidney failure. It somehow affects our ability to makes our more likely for our blood to clot. So we get these microscopic blood clots in our lungs. And just like with this new kind of inflammatory syndrome described with children, those are things we're already learning. We're learning every day new aspects of the virus. And the other issue, I think, which is important over the long run, is we don't really understand how our bodies develop immunity, if in fact they do. People haven't been well or recovered long enough to understand how long that immunity lasts, which may be one of the challenges with a vaccine, although hopefully not. We don't know what the mutation rates are in the virus, like in the flu, where you have to get a flu shot every year, and even then sometimes it misses the mark. So we don't really know if coronavirus is going to end up like a flu-like illness, where you may not develop lifelong immunity, versus something like measles or mumps, where in fact, when you get mumps or measles, or you get a vaccination in childhood, you're pretty much immune for the rest of your life. So those are all unknowns. But fortunately, there's a lot of research, a lot of studies, people working very hard to understand this to help, going forward, make the world a safer place.
Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, it is just amazing, the research that is being done, and so much in our area, which is really, which is great. Okay, Barnard Medical Center, I absolutely love. I've been there, speaking of flu shots, and had one. You guys are very plant-based nutrition, and we're already getting some questions such as animal protein versus plant-based protein. Does the body process both the same? Yeah,
so that's probably the biggest question I get. Where do you get your protein, right? I'm an endurance athlete. I did the flag behind me to celebrate my 60th birthday this past summer. I did Lake Placid Ironman, and I never worried about my protein. And so an easy way to think about this: if you turn on National Geographic and you see a special on mountain gorillas or elephants, is the first thing that you worry about is, oh my God, where do they get their protein? Well, of course not. Those animals are herbivores. Some of the biggest, strongest animals on the planet are herbivores. And so proteins are just strings of amino acids. And when we consume them, no matter what the source, our body breaks down the protein into the individual amino acids. We absorb those and then reassemble them to meet our body's needs, whether it be, repair, building muscle, whatever. So in fact, there are absolutely no differences. And where did the protein in the animals come from? When you eat a steak, where did that protein come from? It came from the grass that the cow ate, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So we're just the cow or the animal. When we consume animal-based proteins, the animal is just serving as the middleman for the nutrition. And in fact, those animals have used all the good stuff, a lot of it, the fiber and the vitamins and the nutrients and the minerals and the antioxidants, to run their own machinery. And they concentrate those calories into protein and fat, which we consume. And because we're not starved for, most of us at least, are not starved for calories anymore in the modern world, we have the ability, in the Western world, we have the luxury really of skipping the middleman and going straight to the source of the nutrition.
How do you feel about, because I hear this argument a lot, plant-based versus meat. A lot of people say, well, it really depends on the quality of your meat. So yeah, if you're eating meat that's injected with hormones and all that stuff, that's terrible for you. If you're buying, massive bulk chicken breasts that are huge. But then people say, well, if you're buying really organic, grass-fed meats, that's much better for you. What do you say to that?
Well, another way to think about this is to think about our food through the lens of nutrient density, right? So when we have extra money, we want to invest it in our financial future, and we're looking for a positive return on investment, a positive ROI, right? Well, that's how we should think about our calories, because every calorie that you put in your mouth is either an investment in your future health or it's not, right? And say you have 100 calories to invest in your health right this minute, and you can invest it in olive oil because you heard that was healthy, or you can invest it in a grass-fed, beef, or you can, so 100 calories is about an ounce, or you can invest it in broccoli, right? So let's say olive oil, 100 calories of olive oil. What do you get back? What do you get back for that investment? Well, you get fat. That's it, right? How much fiber? 0. How about vitamin C? 0. What about cancer-fighting antioxidants, phytonutrients? 0. So probably not a great return on your investment. 100 calories of grass-fed beef or free-range chicken. It's about an ounce. How much space does that take up in your stomach? Not very much. You're not going to be full. And what do you get back besides protein and fat? Well, nothing. There's no fiber. There's no potassium to lower your blood pressure, and no cancer-fighting phytonutrients. 100 calories of broccoli, 12 ounces. It's a lot of broccoli. But that's really the point, because when we eat these whole food plant-based sources of energy, they become calorically self-limiting. Yep. They lower our blood pressure. They prevent diabetes. And our nutrition return on investment is vast. We get fiber. There's almost as much protein in 100 calories of broccoli as there is in an egg, 6-7 grams. There's potassium, there's cancer-fighting phytonutrients, etc. So if you start to think about food a little bit differently, and again, when we start to think about nutrient density, and then the other thing I think, which is more and more important every single day, is where did this pandemic come from? Probably came from the wet markets, right? Many pandemics, cow disease, swine flu, on and on and on, are vectors that are transmitted through animals. And then lastly is the impact that animal husbandry has on the environment. We know that raising animals for food has a profound impact on land use, water use, climate change, exposures to environmental toxins in commercially raised animals that you already alluded to, hormones and things like that. So you just don't need to eat animals to be healthy. And I would argue, in fact, that the most healthful diet on the planet is, in fact, a whole food plant-based diet.
Oh, that is so good. And it is so true how you connected it to coronavirus, because even when my parents used to raise goats, right? And even with goats that you're doing for meat goats, you have to deworm them. They have to get, they seem to carry so many parasites. And so, right. Which I'm sure is probably because they're eating dirt and other things, it's but that's so fascinating. That just really hit me when you said that. It's wow. Yeah. Animals seem to be they do carry a lot of germs and disease and parasite and worms. And okay, now I'm really, I'm really fully on board. Erin wants to ask you though, I've tried vegetarianism and I always feel hungry. What protein do you suggest for someone that can't eat tofu?
Well, so typically when people feel hungry, they're not getting enough of one of two things, either enough fiber or enough protein. Those are the things that help us feel full.
Okay.
And again, I think that, just as an aside, I think one of the problems we have in the way we think about nutrition today is we've stopped talking about food, and we talk about what food's made out of. We worry about protein and carbs and fat and fiber. What we should be worrying about is food, because when we eat food, those other things take care of themselves, right? A whole food plant-based diet inherently is about 75% unprocessed carbs, about 15% protein, about 10% fat, which is exactly what your body needs. Fiber, 50 to 100 grams of fiber a day. So when we use things like, especially legumes, beans and lentils, true whole grains, fresh fruits, vegetables, all of those things are going to give you all the nutrition you need. Plus, they're going to make you feel full and sated after a meal.
Oh, that's so. Go ahead, AJ. Yes, please.
I just have one quick question following up with that is, what's the turnover like how long does it take for your body to get used to it? Because I've been eating meat and I've not lived vegan for 25 years. Should I take like a process, like a slow, like I do vegan for 4 days and then slowly become vegan?
Well, so there's different strategies. I went plant-based in 2011, and I do kind of make a distinction between veganism and being plant-based. Right?
Okay.
So veganism comes from an ethical place about, compassion for animals, which is important. And I came to this from a health standpoint. I certainly have learned a lot about how animals are raised. I think we have a lot of cognitive dissonance around where our food comes from. But the sole dietary criteria in a vegan diet is just the presence or absence of animal product. There's a lot of really unhealthy stuff that's vegan, right? White flour is vegan, sugar is vegan, Dr. Pepper is vegan, Twizzler, Oreos are vegan. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is vegan in the sense it doesn't have animal product, but it's minimally processed foods. It's whole foods, right, that go with it. I went plant-based in 2011. I thought I was a smart guy. I graduated honors med school, trained at Washington University in St. Louis. Thought I, was a great healthcare provider. I became a patient because, for me, eating a healthy diet in those days was, not too much ice cream and not too many cheeseburgers and not too much pizza. And, I could kind of out exercise that. I hurt my knee, put on a bunch of weight, became a patient. None of my doctors ever once talked to me about my diet. Saw forks over knives serendipitously laying on the couch. And I went plant-based overnight. And lost 70 pounds and reversed all my chronic diseases. And again, fast forward, doing Ironman triathlons at age 60. The main thing you'll notice, most people will notice, is some gas and GI issues in the first few weeks, right? And that's not, that's because of gut bacteria, right? We got to regrow, we have to retrain, we have to get new gut bacteria to digest all this fiber and all that kind of stuff. And some people find that a little bit uncomfortable. Certainly easing into it, some people will do where you just say pick a meal. So the first week or two, you're just going to worry about transitioning your breakfast. And the second week, you're just going to transition. Then you're going to transition your lunch. And the third week, you transition your dinner. So you eventually, and then the last thing you worry about is going out and going to people's houses and restaurants and things like that. So that's another strategy that people use that sometimes will minimize some of the GI discomfort that comes with it. Especially for competitive athletes, you don't want to, the movie Game Changers.
Yes, people are
so
referencing
in that as well. And if you're a competitive athlete, you certainly probably would not want to jump into a plant-based diet, 100%, especially during a competitive season because of the GI distress.
Oh, this is so good. People have tons of questions. So I want to get to all these, but I want to ask you really quickly, Dr. Loomis, and then I want to tell people because you all are taking on new patients at your practice at Barnard Medical Center. What about organic versus non-organic? We eat a lot of plant-based with my husband, but it is kind of expensive. And we're thinking about, we want to have a kid and we're like, all right, how are we going to do this with 3 children? Are you still getting nutrients if you're buying non-organic broccoli?
So you are getting nutrients. There's a lot of this whole thing about organic is a little bit confusing and a little bit complicated because, the way organic's defined. So say you have a field of broccoli here that's conventionally grown in a field next to it that's organic, and the crop duster flies over and the wind's blowing this way. Is it really organic, right? Because of the crossover. So what I do personally is I take a fairly pragmatic approach. And so there's an organization a not-for-profit called the Environmental Working Group, EWG. And they go out every year and they buy up tons and tons of fruits and vegetables and they test them for pesticides and herbicides. And they publish every year the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen.
Yep.
The Clean 15, I don't worry about if it's organic or not. The Dirty Dozen, I always buy organic. And then the stuff in the middle, the stuff I eat a lot of, I tend to buy that more organic.
Okay.
So that's the way I do it until we kind of know more. As far as nutrients, it's really 2 questions. So one is the exposure to the pesticide, herbicide residues, but then the second is the nutrition value. Many of the monocrop agricultural that's grown traditionally, like tomatoes, for example, the nutrition has been, and the flavor for that matter, has been spread out of those.
Yep.
Red delicious apples and commercially grown strawberries.
They don't taste like anything.
Exactly. And so because they because there's no genetic diversity, they've lost the ability to fight off these, bugs and viruses that plants get. So that's why you have to use more of the pesticides and herbicides. So going more toward heirloom, non-GMO, organically grown foods. Not only are you not exposing yourself to these chemicals, you may in fact be getting more nutrition, more phytonutrients, antioxidants from the more again, heirloom type fruits and vegetables that you can get, say, at the farmer's market.
Oh, this is so fascinating. Guys, if you're just joining our live, Dr. Loomis is with us from Barnard Medical Center. They are taking on new patients and they have a focus on plant-based living your wellness. It's an amazing practice located in Northwest DC in Washington. I go there. I've been there. They're amazing. And I've had the opportunity to interview Dr. Barnard, who's just terrific. So you can make an appointment. And also they're doing a Kickstart app with their 21-day Vegan Kickstart app. Dr. Loomis, can you tell us a little about that? That app sounds great.
Yeah, so we have a program online. It's free. You download the app and it gives you guidance on how to transition to a plant-based diet over 21 days. It has recipes and tips and things like that. And as far as, so right now, our clinic, we're doing 100% telehealth. We actually can see patients. We have providers that can see patients in New York, California, Missouri, Massachusetts, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We have dietitians that you can see, even if you don't want to come here as a patient, with a referral from your primary care doctor, we can do medical nutrition therapy or it's a dietary consultation in those same states. Plus, Colorado, one of our dietitians is licensed in Kentucky, Arizona, and so if you go to our website, barnardmedicalcenter.org, you'll get all of the information you need about how to make an appointment and what insurance plans we accept. And
awesome. That was a question people wanted to know what medical, and I know I've been there, so I know you guys accept insurance, but I know you can do that all over the phone or on the website and find out. Just kind of some rapid fire questions for you, Dr. Loomis. We're so grateful for your time today. We know you're busy. Will wants to know, can you trust companies that are actually say that they're using plant-based protein and not synthetics? What's your thought on that? And I'm assuming this is like when you do like whey protein, right? For shake. And
so, I mean, honestly, I'm not a big fan of these kind of protein supplements. If you get enough food, if you get enough calories, you're going to get enough protein. And what's interesting about athletes, when I'm training for an Ironman, I'm not taking in 1,800, 2,000 calories. I'm taking in 4,000 calories, right? So what's happened to my protein intake? Well, it's doubled. So it's not protein that I needed to worry about. It was calories I needed to worry about, right? So I'm not a huge fan of these protein isolates. Yeah, I get it. And if you're using them as a meal replacement as opposed to a supplement, there might be some utility in that. But using the pea protein isolate, soy isolate, hemp protein isolate, I think they're okay. Although again, I'm a big fan of food, real food.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What about Melinda asks, are eggs still good to eat or only egg whites? What are your thoughts?
So again, back to the nutrient density answer I gave earlier, right?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So 100 calories of egg, what do you get out of that besides protein and cholesterol for eating the yolk? Well, you get nothing, right?
You're not getting much out of it, right?
Right. And you're exposing yourself potentially to antibiotic residues and chemicals from that because we have to treat the chickens and hormones and things like that. I mean, we just don't need eggs to be healthy, and especially especially the yolks and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of cholesterol. Yeah.
It's true. And you think you're going to miss these foods, but as someone, my husband's completely plant-based and I do it pretty regularly. I might eat meat like once a week and I'm working to get away from that. But it's funny, after a while, you don't miss all this stuff. You really don't. It's like, you substitute with other great things. One last question from you for Allison. Any tips that you guys can offer? She's got a husband who does not want to go plant-based or vegan. So she gave it up because she got tired of making separate dinners. I imagine you hear that often from people. Their family members don't want to do it. Do you guys have any tips for that?
Well, I had to do that when I went plant-based. I have 3 sons, and I was in St. Louis, and they were still in high school at the time, and they had no interest whatsoever in being plant-based. So I would just kind of trick them, right? So I would make chili, and I would cut up tempeh or something like that and put it in there, or I would just leave the meat out, or I'd make a stew and leave out the chicken and put in chickpeas, right? So I used foods that were I made dishes that were hearty and tasty. And then my son would bust my chops. He'd say, "Oh, after a second bowl of chickpea soup," he'd say, "That would have been better with chicken." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, right?" Yeah, this is a place too where transitional foods, where some of these more processed plant-based foods may come into play as a transition food, right? So like Beyond Burger, Impossible Burger, from a health standpoint, still pretty high fat, fair amount of process. But as you're getting kind of transitioning through that, from a meat eater, omnivore, more toward a plant-based diet, I think those foods do play a role. And they do taste, nowadays you can get some amazing cheeses and meat that taste like meat.
Yes.
And so using those to help as you're kind of transitioning through is also I think, a great way to introduce more plant-based foods. The other thing is, pick a meal, like do Meatless Monday, maybe vegan before 6. So your breakfast and lunch is vegan, and then you have a little meat. And so these are strategies you can use to kind of transition through to a more healthful plant-based diet, because every step you take is a step in the right direction, right?
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
If you're eating meat, 21 meals a week, and you cut it down to 5, you're going to be healthier. The planet's going to be healthier. It may not be optimal, but it's certainly better. And I think when people start to experience how much better they feel on a plant-based diet, it's hard to go back, I can tell you.
Oh, Dr. Loomis, you've been amazing. We've taken way more time from you than we even anticipated. I want people to make an appointment. People are loving the information that you're giving. We're going to have you back because people have even more questions. And you can call and make an appointment too at 202-527-7500. Even if you're not in the DC area, Barnard Medical Center is seeing patients really nationwide in many, many other states. And you had mentioned, Dr. Loomis, that the website is, tell us again, the website people can...
Well, you can link it through PCRM.org, which is the parent organization, or BarnardMedicalCenter.org.
Fantastic. Thank you again. Yes, we will be checking in with you. Thanks, Dr. Loomis. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Andrea Lopez. We will see everybody back here tomorrow. We may have a very special guest we're excited to announce. Where can people find you and follow you, Age? You're amazing.
You guys know, at Andrea Lopez Comedy, TikTok and Instagram.
She's the best.
Thank you.
Guys, please check out Dr. Loomis at Barnard Medical Center. They're seeing people nationwide start getting healthier. I mean, we got to protect ourselves against these darn viruses, y'all.
I guess I'm not having eggs I always go eat eggs after the show. But
not anymore, sis. Bye, you guys. We love you. We'll